Welcome back to Art of Awakening. This is Ona Christie with another weekly energy update and reading to help you get into your genius zone to create a beautiful world. All right, so this is mid-December here, 2019, and interesting energies. We're still kind of in this, a lot of us experiencing tests. It's pretty intense energy. There's a lot of just kind of solar stuff happening. We're moving up into the winter eclipse season. We just had a full moon and just a lot of intensity. And if you're feeling tested, you probably are being kind of getting that whole testing energy. And this is what my guides are telling me, is that like if you're feeling tested, you're right, you're being tested. And that they asked me to consider what if. Actually, for me, they outright told me, your soul chose this. Your soul chose this. It's not like, because I was asking about a particular thing that happened, and it was this kind of antagonistic energy, or this this kind of testing that had been happening. And I asked about it, and they're like, oh, well, this was requested. and I was like, okay, so who's responsible for this? And he said, well, the beings of light put this into place. And I was like, okay, why? And they're like, well, your soul requested it. I'm like, okay. And really the idea is that it's like we're being prepared. Those of us who have awakened already are kind of the front runners, right? We're the front runners, and we're really going to be asked to really step forward into our truth, especially in 2020, but in the following years as well. And the impression I'm getting is that there will be bigger testing on a wider scale. And we are really being asked to be able to step up into that, so that we can hold space, so that we can assist with this whole process, because it's going to need every single one of us. If you are listening to this and you feel like you're on the awakening path, and you're kind of resonating with this idea of being tested, or feeling like you're feeling intense energies, at least, just know that, your continued awareness and consciousness and awakening is so important on the planet right now. It really is. It doesn't mean you have to do anything necessarily. You might be called to make big changes in your life. You might not. You're going to be, what's important is to really listen to your own higher guidance, and what it tells you to do, because there's a reason you're here. Okay, so I tend to get distracted, so I took a couple notes here. Okay, so one thing that I was shown is this idea of the light body, and we're assimilating the light body, right? We're kind of upgrading our systems physically, actually on the physical level as well as the etheric level. And what they're showing me is on the collective itself, we're kind of moving from, and you're probably already familiar with this idea, we're moving from the 3D to the 5D, and it's entailing a lot of different kind of upgrades to the physical body. If you've had physical symptoms, like I've had just kind of massive physical symptoms over the last year and a half, and it's really tied to, this whole ascension process. What they're showing me is it kind of goes in the spiral in terms of the chakra activation. Okay, so right now it feels to me like we are in this root chakra activation state, and activating collectively the fifth dimensional, or whatever, the higher state of the root chakra. Okay, so if you look at the root chakra, it's all about survival. At the 3D level, the root chakra is about kind of the physical survival, right? Surviving at all costs. and it's kind of the animal level of survival. And a creature, human or animal, whatever, with a healthy root chakra, when their survival is threatened, they're just going to do whatever the heck they can to stay alive. Okay? But we're coming around and it's spiraling up. Okay, so the next stage of the cycle is that root chakra is really going to be connected with your truth, right? Your higher self, and maintaining that integrity of the higher self, not just the physical existence, but the higher self integrity. Okay, and this is where we're getting a lot of these trials and tribulations, is that when we are still hanging on to the old, energies or the whatever patterns that we needed in order to maintain that healthy 3D root chakra, right? If we're still hanging on to that, we're being required to let go of that and to move into other patterns that are going to be supporting this higher self, right? The higher vibration of the root chakra. This goes for all the chakras, but right now it feels like there's a lot of root chakra stuff going on, because it's like fundamental, right? Once we start hitting that, I call it fierce self-love, is like, when that starts getting activated, that's when your higher self is going to cause all this stuff, anything that's not aligned, it's just going to start falling away. And at some point you reach this point where you get aligned with that and you start making conscious choices rather than having it happen to you. You start making the choices yourself, and that means whatever it means to you. Okay, typically it's going to mean either just letting go of things that don't serve you, and or stepping into, and potentially taking risks, or getting out of your comfort zone in ways that help you to move forward with that aligned sense of being. Okay, so it's like when we start really moving into that fierce self-love, then it's like we start fearlessly moving forward. Or even if we're a little bit afraid, it's like we still have the courage to move forward, with what we are, what we're being told by our higher self is, the direction that we need to go. And like I said, it feels like it's happening on maybe our soul tribe level, being awakened big time. And that's going to be happening in terms of all the chakras as well. One thing that I've been seeing that really assists with this process, can really, really help you to step out of that 3D into the 5D, whatever chakra you're working with, or whatever energies you're working with, in order to really help, is the heart coherence. Okay, so being in your heart, spending time with that heart, because what I'm being told is when we are in our heart space, when we're aligning with our own heart, it gets a little esoteric, but they're telling me like the heart is like the center of everything. And so it's like the center of the universe, right? And each of us has a heart, right? So there's, of course, infinitely many centers of the universe. And I've also been told that we have multiple hearts because we have these multiple parallel lifetimes and so forth. So we have many, many, many. But the more in this lifetime that you can really get into that heart space and align with your heart, that just kind of tends to line everything up. And that will assist with being able to kind of activate the higher levels of the chakras and so forth. What is heart coherence? It's just like anything that you can do to open up that heart. A really, really simple technique that's very effective is just to, you can shut your eyes, or just imagine breathing in and out of the heart, and just from all directions, in and out. Very simple, just breathing, but it is very effective. And if you do this for, 15 minutes a day or whatever, you can do it when you're going to bed, waking up. Just take a little bit of time every day to work with that heart space, and that can help a lot in making this transition that we're all making. Okay, Um, okay, so I'm just going to do a quick reading here and looking at this week ahead. And by the way, the reason I have dolphins, my dolphin painting here, is that another couple messages that I'm getting is, one, stop replaying old stories. So stop looking back at, past lifetimes, whatever, because we keep replaying and keep focusing back on what happened, or, I'm doing this because I suffered that, right? They're saying just stop, stop looking at it. And the thing about dolphins that I just recently learned is that they heal amazingly well. They have incredible healing capacity. Like if they get a shark bite or something, that doesn't phase them. That wound just they just keep moving forward. And so it's like, it's time to just like stop dwelling on the old wounds and think about the joy. Focus on the joy. Okay, dolphin's a real joy animal, and look in this painting, they're all just circling around the light. That's what we're being asked to do, right? Leave the old wounds behind. They're not doing us any good thinking about them, really. Yes, we are healing from them, but we can heal from them by focusing more on the light rather than focusing on the wound. Okay, so that said, let's pick a card here for this week. See what's coming up. Cougar. All right. Okay, Cougar always strikes me as like boundaries always come up. Kind of very focused, looking at goals, right? And this is a good time to start thinking about that. We've got the new year coming up. Everybody's making their resolutions. Everybody's doing their business planning. Very good time for that. And this is, kind of a supporting spirit animal, maybe you can call on if you're in that kind of planning stage or goal setting. I'd say think about, rather than thinking about setting goals, think about what results do you want? Okay, what's a little bit different twist on that, because it's so easy. All of us do it. I know I do every year. It's like I set goals and I set goals and I set goals, and it just becomes something that's not really, it's sort of like something you do and then it doesn't happen. But if you think in terms of like, these are the results I want, because a goal seems to be something sort of out of reach, but when you start thinking in terms of, okay, I'm looking for this result, that sends a little message to the universe. It's like, okay, she's serious, she really wants this, right? It's just a little, like I work with words a lot, and sometimes a little word that you use makes a difference. So think in terms of, what results are you looking for this coming year? Okay. And also kind of active expression of power, right? What actions can you take that will help you to realize those results? Using prioritizing, right? That would be a big one, because just look at the cougar, how focused they can be, right? Any kind of cat, just really focus, which if you're a really creative person like I am, that can be really hard sometimes, because the creativity is this kind of expansion, right? We see all the possibilities. But one of the biggest bugaboos for us creative people, in order to actually get the results from our wonderful ideas, is lack of focus. So the focus needs to go hand in hand, right, with those creative expansive ideas. So you get the creative expansive idea, maybe, I want these results or whatever, then we need to kind of contract it, bring it in. It can be a little dance both ways, right? Because sometimes when we start focusing too much, we get so on it that it sort of kills the whole thing. So we want to go back and forth. Again, bring that joy into it, okay? So joy and smiling and laughter and keeping it light, This is how we prevent this over focus and just kind of killing the whole thing, right? And this is another message they keep telling me that's really important right now going into 2020 is keeping it light. Okay, they showed me a bee flitting from flower to flower and just bringing the spirit of play into everything that we do. Again, the dolphins really speak to that. I'm going to draw from another animal card deck. That was my deck, by the way. That was the Spirit Animal Awareness cards. And this is the Colette Baron Reed Animal deck. I'm having just a lot of fun lately with this deck. I shuffled, but see what it is. Ant Spirit. Okay. Again, I think this speaks to this action on whatever it is once you figure out what results you want. And ants really are, you know, bit by bit by bit. They're very, sometimes they can seem like they're all over the place, right? But if you really look at the big picture, thinking in terms of little chunks, right? Rather than trying to do all at once and getting frustrated, you know, thinking in terms of what do I do today, right? Ask spirit, if nothing else. Like, even if you are so challenged by planning that you can't, just first of all, set the results in your mind. Okay, this is a result that this or something better that I really want. And then ask spirit every day, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do today? What do I need to do this month? What do I need to do this week? What do I need to do today? And then just do it. Like, write down 1 to 3 things. And yeah. So there's a lot of support right now for manifestation. Huge support for manifestation coming into 2020. It's going to be a huge manifesting year for awakened and awakening people. Exciting, right? I'm going to have to draw 1 more card from the Archangel Michael deck. Innocence. Okay. I think this really relates to this idea of wound healing, okay? And coming back to innocence, because, and the idea of being tested, okay? That message that I got is like, your soul chose this. What difference is that, right? Between it's some kind of reptilian aliens or whatever that have this agenda against humankind. Oh, is that heavy, right? Versus my soul chose this because it's helping me to expand. Okay, and I don't know what your beliefs are, whatever it is, but if you can just take ownership of that, it's going to really help, right? You know, because it gets you out of that victim mentality. Because the victim mentality is connected with that whole shame, blame, you know, that kind of thing, the guilt feeling, the I've been wounded feeling, right? And to take ownership gets us out of that. And that takes a lot of forgiveness. It takes the self-forgiveness in order to do that, okay? Because we can look at all we've been through and say, oh my God, I asked for that, my soul, right? A lot of self-forgiveness. But knowing that you are an innocent soul, right? And forgiving it all. I mean, forgiveness just means you're releasing attachment to it. It's like, okay, so here I am. And think in terms of, you know, I keep thinking of the bar exam, and I think I brought this up in an earlier video, but the bar exam, like when a lawyer takes the bar, it's really difficult. But they take it, and they take it over and over and over because it's like it brings them to where they really want to be. We're all stepping into a much, I mean, believe it or not, because it's been years and years for a lot of us, but right, the energies really are right now supporting us stepping into just like a whole different level of being on this earth, and things are really lining up for that. So just, you know, forgiving yourself frees yourself to move forward into that. Again, releasing those past stories. It doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter what happened. you know, it is what it is. You're at where you are right now. You could have gotten here a million different ways, right? But this is where we're at. And, you know, focusing on the healing and focusing on the joy and the light, that's what's going to bring us forward into a beautiful place. Right. Well, enjoy this week. Enjoy this holiday preparation for a lot of us. If you found this helpful, I'd love to hear about that in the comments below. And if you would like to work with me, I'll leave that information below too. I am accepting commissions for new paintings. I do soul essence paintings where I look at your energy or work with you. It's a very co-creative kind of process. It involves, it's not just a painting, it's energy work, it's a whole experience. So if that's something that would interest you going into 2020, let me know. And otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I'll catch you again soon.